Alright, so let's conclude this trilogy of GameStop videos. In case you haven't been keeping up, amidst the ongoing current events and international incident, GameStop employees began by complaining about the fact that executives did not seem all that concerned about hygiene and, well, closing stores in order to mitigate the situation. Employees were told that they would get hygienic supplies, but plenty of people reported that they actually didn't get that, and many feared that in a high-contact place like GameStop where everyone's touching everything, this is far from an ideal environment to stay open amidst these times. And then this story really gained traction when GameStop put out a memo to employees that they would stay open no matter what because they deemed themselves to be essential retail, and they even went as far as telling employees to refuse law enforcement requests of shutdown. And you can actually see the memo right here as posted by a disgruntled GameStop employee. And then this GameStop employee just flat out wrote a letter to the CEO saying, we're gonna close down our store whether you like it or not because we fear for our safety, and unless you pay us more, we're not gonna keep doing this. And then this popular post right here explains the entire situation, how bad this incident has gotten, and how other companies have actually adjusted their working hours or closed down entirely to help mitigate, but GameStop, on the other hand, seems to be taking advantage of the situation because sales of games have gone up in these times, and so GameStop seems desperate to profit from that. And then we've got a couple people here tendering their resignation, explaining that GameStop is not doing the moral thing right now, so on and so forth. Now, after much public backlash and protests from employees, GameStop did eventually shut down stores in California, as I reported in my last video on this issue. They said, we're closing our stores in California. The closure will remain in effect until further notice as we obtain more information from the California governor's office. People wondered whether this was a response to backlash or whether somebody in the government came down on them and said, hey, nope, closed down. According to Hollywood Reporter, this happened following California Governor Gavin Newsom's mandate that non-essential businesses close their doors on Thursday evening. So it seems to have been less about listening to their employees and more about just following the law, adhering to the law. But either way, this closure is definitely prudent during these times. But the problem is that GameStop, unlike many other companies, said that they wouldn't be paying their employees. It reads right here, 2 California GameStop employees told Kotaku that they've been told to use personal time or file for unemployment as they will not be paid while stores are shut down. So optics surrounding GameStop only became worse, the backlash from the public became worse, and employees have expressed their disdain and disgust at a company that does not seem to care about its employees. This finally brings us to the latest developments from 2 days ago, Saturday, March 21st, 2020. The following information was reported by Kotaku's Jason Schreier, who's sort of been on top of this story. The headline reads, GameStop finally closes stores to customers. And this is across the board, not just in 1 or 2 states. Here's a letter that CEO George Sherman sent out to employees to warn them of this happening. You can read it right here. Dear GameStop associates, I want to thank you all for your hard work as we continue to adjust our operations in response to the rapidly evolving situation. The health and safety of each of you as well as our customers is paramount, and we have and will continue to take extensive precautions consistent with guidelines. Whether you've been impacted by store closures, reduced store hours, school closures, or being limited in visiting an older loved one, we know that this situation is impacting all of you personally and professionally in different ways. We will continue to adjust our operations based on any future local, state, or federal developments, and I hope that as always you exercise caution and safety through these unprecedented times. I know that a number of you have been voluntarily coming to work to support the millions of Americans facing unprecedented challenges as we adapt to a new normal. We continue to closely monitor local, state, and federal updates and guidelines, and we're complying with all state, county, city, and local ordinances. However, let me state clearly, in any location that continues to operate, we will not make you work if you don't feel comfortable doing so. Please coordinate with your supervisor if that is the case. We respect that everyone has personal situations and preferences, so your decision will not impact your position with the company. So that's a very different stance from last week when GameStop was forcing employees to come in and work whether they were comfortable or not. One employee said last week, many associates are fearing losing their jobs jobs because store leaders or district leaders are telling us internally that if we stay home and do not supply a doctor's note verifying we are being doctor ordered to not work, it will be an unexcused absence. As for how GameStop plans to continue operations in a safer way, it reads right here, delivery at the door only. Effective March 22nd, all GameStop stores that remain open will only offer our delivery at the door service. Customers will order their products online via the GameStop app or by scanning a QR code at their store location. The orders will be picked up and packed by the in-store team who will coordinate with the customers to pick up their order curbside at the door of the store. So they've shifted completely to either traditional online ordering or curbside pickups, which seems like a good balance of operating business while still taking the precautions necessary during these times. As for how employees will be paid, whereas before GameStop said, yeah, we're not going to pay you, and certain levels of employees can use personal time, now they're actually taking some appropriate measures to keep employees compensated. It reads right here, supplemental compensation for hourly associates. I know that store closures and reduced hours will have a financial impact on you. In an effort to provide some additional flexibility, we're implementing a few pay policy updates. Everyone's financial situation is unique, whether you're a full-time or part-time employee. I want to assure you that you can count on GameStop as we count on you. Count on GameStop. Oh, don't make us laugh. Effective immediately, we have implemented the following for all hourly associates that work at a store that has closed or will close in the future as a result of the situation, or any associate directly impacted by the situation at work and is required to quarantine. Hourly employees who are paid time off eligible will receive 2 weeks, 80 hours of additional pay time off. In the event that you're not paid time off eligible, we will be paying you for 2 additional weeks of base pay calculated on the weekly average number of hours you have worked over the last 10 weeks. In addition, if you're a full-time benefit eligible employee, you will be receiving reimbursement for 1 full month of employee benefit contributions for the month of April. So this letter from CEO George Sherman is definitely saying all the right things, but why wasn't this said days ago, weeks ago, when this whole situation began? Why is it only now that they're finally taking this stance after much public backlash and employee protest, and after just painting such a negative light on the company as a whole, a company that was already associated with not caring about their employees and treating them like trash? A lot of people seem to think that GameStop was waiting for the launch of Doom Eternal and Animal Crossing, which were bound to attract a lot of people to their stores, especially during these times, in order to profit from that. And now that that's over, now they're finally shutting down operations. That's all conjecture, of course, but the fact that it took them this long to enact the proper action says a lot about the company. The fact remains that they wanted to stay open as long as possible despite the health risk that this all posed to employees and customers alike, all while giving bullshit excuses about how they're essential retail because they carry mouse and keyboard that will help people use electronics to communicate remotely, just really using any excuse and going way out there with their justifications in order to stay open and continue making money. Now, keep in mind that this letter was sent out on March 21st, 2020, and nothing was confirmed officially to the public. But then on March 22nd, GameStop did release a press release in which they did in fact confirm that effective Sunday, March 22nd, 2020, for all locations not already closed, in accordance with state and local orders, GameStop will temporarily stop customer access to storefronts, processing orders on digital-only basis, moving to curbside pickups at stores, and e-commerce delivery only. This will allow the company to continue to serve customers who have purchased online at GameStop.com and the GameStop app and have requested a product pickup at their local store. And you can read down here that GameStop has confirmed that they are no longer requiring employees to work if they don't feel comfortable doing so, and that people who are not working as a result of this situation will be compensated as highlighted in the letter that the CEO sent to employees. Better late than never, but it just took way too much time, way too much worry on the part of employees in particular to get here. and it took too much just refusing to comply with local law enforcement. GameStop executives had to have their arms twisted in order to make these more appropriate decisions rather than them coming to this conclusion and course of action, and that's extremely unfortunate. And that is something that should be highlighted because this is how GameStop deals with a crisis. They put profit first over the people. And I'll remind you that this is still a multi-billion-dollar company and the executives are still making millions and millions of dollars. They could have afforded to make some sacrifices during these times, but GameStop was among those corporations who decided that they would rather sacrifice the people than sacrifice their money. But alas, at least employees get to have some choice now on whether, they want to stay home or whether they want to keep working in this different way with curbside pickups. And even if employees decide not to work fearing for health risk, they will still be compensated in some way. So at least we have gotten here. I just wish it wouldn't have taken this much time and effort and strong arming. So yeah, there you have it, folks. This is one man's take on the situation, and this is all you need to know about what's been going on with GameStop. Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on this whole GameStop situation, and to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.